Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast. Today's segment is an audio library segment dedicated to the Father's Day articles in the June 12th, 2025 edition of the Mountaineer. Before we get into the audio library segment, if you haven't subscribed to the Mountaineer yet and you want to get news from peak to peak, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and click on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our homepage. From there, you'll get full access to our digital archives and scanned copies of our physical newspaper. You could choose to send a physical subscription to your mailbox or to a mailbox of someone that you love as well. If you're interested in being advertised in the paper and or the podcast, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com/advertise or email our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hardt, at info@themountaineer.com and or myself at media@themountaineer.com. And finally, here's our top story for this episode of the podcast, brought to you by Brittany Wagner.
Our top story today comes from Kirk C. Watkins, Jamestown Elementary's Patrick Griffin to retire. At Jamestown Elementary, or JES, the tiny two-room schoolhouse is losing one of its foundations. Patrick Griffin, the teacher for the older children's classroom, known as the Olders, is retiring after an 11-year run. Naturally, having so few students and being such an integral part of their lives for 3 years creates deeper bonds than a typical school. I get very attached to each one of the kids and their futures and how they're doing as they go through middle school and high school, Griffin said. I try and have been successful so far in sending a high school graduation card to everyone that graduated 5th grade. You can read the full story in this week's Mountaineer or at themountaineer.com.
If you want to hear more recent top stories, then be sure to check out the previous 2 episodes of the podcast. And now it's time for the Father's Day 2025 special of the Mountaineer Audio Library segment. Peak Perspectives, Father's Day, by Barbara Hardt. Published in the June 12th, 2025 edition of the Mountaineer. Read by Jamie Lammers. Boulder. This week, I wanted to write this amazing story about my dad, and all the amazing men in my life that have been influential to me and my kids. But here I am, sitting in a hospital room with the coolest kid, waiting for doctors to make up their collective mind of what is best for her. So I sit, and I wait, and I stew. This kid has a cool dad. He's not like other dads, but maybe he's doing the best he can in some random way. And as a result, he doesn't parent like some parents. And things get complicated. And this situation is certainly complicated. But I wait, and I pray, and I hope for the very best, and hope I can take this kiddo where they need to be for a while to get to take a deep breath and think. And so, back to it. My dad is a good dad. I've been closer to my dad in my adult years than I ever was before. The hardest part, my dad is so far away. I don't get to see him, or a lot of my family, as often as I'd like. I don't get to hug him and hang out with him. I'm thankful for phone conversations, but they're never long enough. I'm most thankful that my dad has an amazing wife who takes great care of him. And thankful my sister and her family are only a couple hours away. And I wish my dad a very happy Father's Day, and hope to see him sometime this summer or fall. I'm also thankful for my stepdad, Bruce. I haven't known Bruce real well because they didn't stay in Colorado that long before heading to where they are now. I'm thankful Bruce and my mom have each other and the ability to take good care of each other, and that they're only a few minutes from my sister's house. Happy Father's Day, Bruce. And I can't say Happy Father's Day without saying it to any of my family that have the joy of being a dad, or soon to be a dad. All of you, thanks for being amazing to whoever is in your life. In the meantime, waiting, hoping, praying I can get this other kiddo out of here to see their family for Father's Day. As always, thanks for reading. A Place to Be by Christopher Kelley. Nederland. My parents divorced when I was so young I have no memories of them together. As far as I knew back then, visiting my father once a week was a normal thing. I didn't know yet that I was a product of a broken home, mostly because my father never made me feel that way. But despite how he tried, he couldn't shield me from others, or from society's cold tongue. Not with just one day a week visitation. I'd eventually be made to know that my home life was different, that it was not the norm. I'd eventually be taught to feel shame about this. I never felt shame when at my father's house, though. Those Sundays were an escape from a cruel reality, not because I was kept disillusioned, but because I was given respite. I was given the opportunity to be a kid. I was allowed to be inquisitive. I was permitted to feel my feelings, and most of all, I felt cared for. And therefore, I felt a part of a normal family. Every Sunday was a learning experience. Whether it was the world of cartoons and comics, or mechanics and electronics, or music and computer games, every week I was introduced to not just the concept of these new worlds, but to the tactile reality of them. My dad, Paul Kelley, while being an extremely imaginative person, expresses that imagination through what is tangible, through what his fingers can reach, touch, and fiddle with. I didn't just learn from him the what, where, and when of things. My father arrives at answering the why by analyzing every aspect of the how. So I didn't just learn the concept of using a computer to play games. I learned how to build a computer. Throughout my childhood, all the way to adulthood, my father dedicated his Sundays to nurturing me instead of tolerating me. Legos were toys we'd play with together, but it was also engineering. NASCAR was a sport on television, but it was also internal combustion mechanics in action. Raking the lawn was a chore, but with a golf cart, a tow hitch, and a tarp, it became a game. Music was more than just the sounds emitting from a speaker. Music was the speaker. It was the turntable, it was the recording equipment used for the album, the instruments chosen, and how they were tuned. It was who played those instruments and how they played them. It was who produced that music, who wrote it, where the ideas came from, who influenced them, what came before. I remember when I was a moody teenager. I still loved to escape every Sunday to my dad's, to a place where I wasn't a burden. I wasn't as curious about the inner workings of tactile things as much as I was concerned about the inner workings of nebulous constructs like society and political systems. My father never scoffed or shied away from these heavy topics either. He'd provide what answers and context that he could, all while writing a line between seriousness and lightheartedness. As I got older, I would discover things like music, movies, cartoons, comedians, or books. I was always excited for Sunday to come so I could tell my dad what I had discovered because he actually listened, despite being forced to endure some questionable things, such as Police Academy movies and the band Corn. There was one time, though, when I asked him if he had ever heard of the artist Nick Drake. I had heard the song Pink Moon on a Volkswagen commercial, and it propelled me into buying and obsessing over the album of the same name. The album became very personal to me, as it dealt with dark and depressing themes of isolation and loneliness, while also highlighting a naive sense of beauty that lies beneath the pain. As usual, my dad taught me all about Nick Drake, where he had come from, the trials and tribulations of his life as a recording artist, all the way up to his tragic suicide at the age of 27, just like Kurt Cobain, another artist my dad and I shared a love for. Unknowingly, or perhaps knowingly, my father provided me with the context for my own feelings of depression, isolation, and loneliness, and it was the light of that clear definition that helped to guide me through it. Years later, as a stepfather helping to raise 2 kids who had visitation every summer, though I did not realize it immediately, I had provided them with a safe space to be themselves, because I had been given that by my father. I had all the resources I needed to help make the time we had with them meaningful and fulfilling, because, like my father did before me, I wanted nothing more but to give them love, patience, and understanding. When Joe, the youngest, hit those difficult later teenage years, they asked me for music recommendations. I recommended a lot of 1990s metal and 1970s prog, but I also mentioned Pink Moon by Nick Drake, which would go on to become one of their favorites, something they still listen to and love to this day, and which meant so much to them that they gifted the album on vinyl to me on Father's Day. I cried when I opened that gift, as it had shown to me the cyclical nature of a father's love, of letting your child feel their feelings, of truly hearing them and understanding them, of teaching them through their bright-eyed wonder, and guiding them through their darkest thoughts. When I was young, younger than before, never saw the truth hanging from the door. Now I'm older, see it face to face. Now I'm older, gotta get up, clear the place. And I was green, greener than the hill, where flowers grew and the sun shone still. Now I'm darker than the deepest sea. Just hand me down, give me a place to be. To hear a full cover sung by myself, Jamie Lammers, of Place to Be by Nick Drake, head to the description of this episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. My dad. My dad is very kind and loving. He is intelligent and wise. It is through him that I have learned to ask questions, advocate, and see another side of a story. He has taught me to have an open mind, an open heart, and see people who are often unseen. I have seen him in a career where people expect perfection and expect his kids to be perfect. No human is perfect. There's not much in my life as wonderful as a hug from my dad, to hear his laugh and converse with him. The miles between us are too many. If we cannot talk, I often feel his presence and hear his voice guiding me. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Eat some lutefisk and enjoy the day. I love you very much. Love, S. Naomi. Bonne fête, pères. A shout out to Pops, Elbows, that man. You are virtuous, patient, kind, and laconic. Growing up as a kid, you flourished adventure, exploring, and the importance of creativity and knowledge to me. I have learned so much from you, but to name a few that I treasure are ethics, morals, and wit. I wouldn't be who I am today without you. Love, the Kid. A corny poem honoring my dad. Dad, Father, Papa, Pops, whatever name resonates in your heart. My dad was always there for me, making my life tops. He taught me that life is like a sine wave that continues until life stops. My dad was intuitive, perceptive, creative, and glib. He had high expectations, showed me tough love, but no matter the situation, he instilled in me that I could rise above. He truly was ahead of his time, jogging in the 60s, running Boston in the 70s, franchising apartments in the 80s. With him, I learned to climb. My dad was a thinker. He was wise. He was sharp, and in my eyes, just plain cool. He was a pillar of strength in our family. I will forever miss my jewel, my dad. By Ellie Najjar. Coal Creek cleans up, celebrates Father's Day. By John Scarffe. Coal Creek Canyon. The Coal Creek Canyon Improvement Association had a busy weekend on June 7th and 8th, 2025 at the CCCIA Hall. On Saturday, residents met for the canyon cleanup, and on Sunday, they gathered to celebrate Father's Day with a spaghetti dinner. On Saturday, folks met at the hall at 8 a.m. to pick up bags, and to choose a favorite mile. Hawaiian-themed attire was encouraged in order to make picking up trash even more fun. Breakfast burritos were provided by the Premier Members Credit Union. Kyle West organized the event again this year. Susie Schemmel, CCCIA secretary and hall manager, said they had many volunteers to help. They covered the area from the railroad bridge on Highway 72 to Pine Cliff. They picked up 85 bags of trash that day. Board member Jeremy Turnmeyer said he found needles and hubcaps near Wonderview. Schemmel said they are the oldest continuous Adopt-a-Highway program for the state of Colorado and the Colorado Department of Transportation. Then, on Sunday night, June 8th, CCCIA celebrated Father's Day with a spaghetti dinner. The charge for members was $11, $13 for non-members, and $6 for kiddos. Turnmeyer wrote, "We had a wonderful time at our Father's Day spaghetti dinner this past Sunday. With around 30 people in attendance, the evening was filled with great food, laughter, and heartfelt appreciation for the fathers and father figures in our community. Guests enjoyed a delicious meal of spaghetti with red sauce, with both meat, veggie, and gluten-free options, garlic bread, meatballs, fresh salad, and a variety of desserts. The atmosphere was relaxed and joyful as families gathered to celebrate the dads who make a difference every day. A big thank you to United Power for being a continuous partner and sponsor for our local events. Also, an enormous thank you to all the volunteers who helped with cooking, serving, and cleanup. Your time and effort made the evening run smoothly and created a welcoming space for everyone. To all the dads who joined us, thank you for everything you do. We hope you felt celebrated and appreciated." Volunteers helping to cook and serve the dinner were Jeremy Turnmeyer, Janice Batt, Bruce Tansey, Treasurer Chuck Burjank, and Susie Schemmel. Upcoming events at CCCIA Hall include July 4th in the Canyon from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a red, white, and blue celebration. And on July 19th, the Vigilant Blood Drive is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please contact CCCIA80403@gmail.com. For more information about Coal Creek, go to coalcreekcanyon.org or facebook.com/Coal Creek Canyon Improvement Association. The CCCIA Hall is located at 31528 Highway 72. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to this special Father's Day segment of Audio Library. I'll be back in a couple of days with our next regular Mountaineer podcast segment. In the meantime, if you want to share this episode or others with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of our homepage, or head to our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. Again, if you're interested in advertising in the paper and or the podcast, or in being featured in any way, then be sure to email info@themountaineer.com and or media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. And finally, along with all of our most important links, our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube, and of course the podcast's main hub, in every podcast episode description, you can also check out the mtnear.com and see the options that are available on the right side of our homepage, including our new events calendar where you can submit the events you want to promote at your venue. I'll see you guys next time for another segment of the Mountaineer Podcast. Have a great rest of your day.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak-to-Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.